Greetings everyone. I decided to make this video to share with you the fact that you can cook using wood. Why is that important, you may ask? Well, there's several reasons. If you like barbecue, you like the smoky taste. But today, many may not have gas to cook with. Plus, look how many times across the country there's been power outages. This is how people cooked for thousands of years, prior to the last 75 or so. Nowadays, people have forgotten. Well, here's a reminder. Now, when we're loading the grill, we start with the brush. That's small twigs and seedlings and real dried up old plants and parts of the tree that burns very fast, and we bed it. We want to make sure that the bottom is covered with this bedding because it's going to burn, it's going to get real hot, and that helps to feed the logs because we want to get the logs real hot burning so that they reach the proper temperature for cooking. Okay, now that the bedding has been placed nice and evenly, now we grab sticks. The sticks are they're smaller than the logs, and they catch fire pretty fast, and they're perfect for getting those big logs going. So we line it up, we crisscross the sticks. That way airflow stays up under your logs, constantly feeding it. You need oxygen for a real good fire. And now that the sticks are on, we can put the logs in. This time, just to show you that you don't have to look for a specific type, we're using one from a berry tree and a log from an oak tree and one from those weeds that tend to grow into trees. You know them as those switch plants that you probably got a whooping with when you're a child. Well, anyway, when they get bigger, they burn real easy. They spit out oil, and they get real hot. They burn good. They're a very good source of creating heat and fire. So we'll use these three and put them in line. You can always find an igniter, even if you're desperate and you have to use paper. Just make sure that you keep on feeding it because you want to be sure that the fire gets nice and hot. You want to get those logs burning. I'll use lighter fluid because many of you'll still have some lighter fluid or something else, oil or gasoline. If you use something like that, make sure that it is completely burned up before you attempt to put any kind of food on there because you don't want to spoil the taste of your food with doing so. Now we got that fire real hot. It's really burning. You can see the air traveling up under the logs. As that fire spreads out, it's just being fed with the bedding and the sticks, and those logs are starting to burn. Don't be afraid to get the fire real hot, and don't be afraid because it's maybe blazing up pretty big. Just be sure to keep it within a range to where you can control it. If you're using a fire pit or your barbecue pit or a can, whatever the circumstances is, just be sure that you're able to contain the fire at all times. Now that the fire is nice and hot and you can see the logs are indeed burning, you want to make sure that they're nice and flat so that when you put your rack on there, it's sitting on a flat surface. So you really want to make sure those sticks and the brush up under your logs are just about totally consumed. Now, the rack is going to get real hot, and that'll clean off any impurities that have gathered on it from previous uses or just from elements and sitting around. And believe it or not, the rack getting hot will also heat up the logs because metal is a heat conductor. Now I'm going to take my grill rack brush. Many of you will have one of these, and I'm just going to scrape the grill. As I do that, the residue falls down onto the hot logs and they begin to smoke and burn away themselves. We have chicken legs that have been cleaned and seasoned and ready to go. So we're going to put them on the fire and just look at that smoke. It doesn't take long for it to heat up and really start cooking. You know, and it's not just meats that you can cook like this. You can also boil water, boil potatoes and vegetables. You can cook anything that you cook inside, outside, using wood without having to pay that expensive cost of gas or even overpaying for burnt wood buying a bag of charcoal. Now, this is how people did it for thousands of years, and now it's just forgotten. I know a lot of people, their lights and their gas are turned off, and they think that they have to spend whatever money that they can scrape up to buy fast food because they say there's no way to cook. Because they've forgotten how simple this is. Make sure when you're cooking anywhere that you don't rush it. You want to give it time to cook all the way through. That way it destroys any bacteria or parasites that naturally come in food. Now, the elapsed cooking time for this chicken is about 40 minutes. So, okay, yeah, well, it's not fast food. It's about surviving. It's about feeding your family. Now our chicken is just about done. And as you can see, those logs are still smoking. They're hot enough to put another meal on. Or you can just remove the rack, add a couple sticks, and a nice warm cozy fire is back. Now, you see, it's not impossible and all is not lost. Just like we did for thousands of years, you can still cook using wood. It's the cheapest way to go, great tasting food, and the main thing is you can eat and live. This has been the Survivor Series Part 1. Look forward to more Survivor Series coming up. Thank you for watching. Please leave us a comment and share this video with a friend.